Okay, Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. Appreciate you all attending our regularly scheduled, actually a special school board meeting. Today is January 15th, 2025. For the record, it is 6:09 p.m. I would like to go ahead and call this meeting to order. Can we please get a roll call
President Flores,
here?
Vice President Spray,
Here.
Secretary Trujillo,
Here.
Board Member Concha,
Here.
Board Member King.
Here.
We have a student. No, I'm trying to do it. The next item on the agenda is the pledge of allegiance. The flag is here to our right. If we could please stand, Superintendent Leon, if you don't mind leading us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item D is our land acknowledgement statement. It is respectful to recognize the unique and enduring relationship that exists between Indigenous people and their traditional territories. We acknowledge that we are on the historic homeland of the Red Willow people within the original territory of Taos Pueblo. This acknowledgement will oblige as a reminder of our ongoing efforts to respectfully recognize, honor, reconcile, and partner with the Red Willow people whose land and water we benefit from in this great valley today. At this time, we would like to have a moment of silence in honor of Martin Luther King Day, which is Monday, January 20th. I would like to ask Board Member King if he has any, would like to share any words of wisdom or let's share some sentiments around Martin Luther King Day.
Yeah, if we could all stand, guys, please. Dr. King gave the ultimate sacrifice. We all know he passed too young, 39 years of age. It's interesting, some of the facts. Dr. King's first name at birth was Michael, and he changed it to Martin. So having the last name is King, and my dad was from actually West Tennessee, where Alex Haley was from. I think I mentioned it last year when I became sworn in. But Dr. King, I thought it was kind of interesting for us to kind of look over some of the things his dedication was quite amazing. He spoke 2,500 times. He traveled 6 million miles. And he left us a legacy that at 39, we still are learning. He was very passionate to his family. And if you haven't read anything, I challenge all you guys to pick up a book, share with your family, learn something for yourself, and I appreciate this, President Mark. So a moment of reflection. Appreciate it. Thank you.
With that being said, I'd like to actually read a quote from Martin Luther King. It actually has to do with education, and Martin Luther King stated in this quote that the function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character. That is the goal of true education. And I firmly believe that that's something that we all work very hard to do in our district, is to help our children to teach them to think intensively and to think critically, and to also build character and intelligence amongst our students. So I want to thank all the educators and all the parents that are in the room and the administrative support staff that supports our teachers and the school board for your dedication to education and improving the lives of our students and their families within our school district. So just want to end with that note, and thank you for Reverend King for for your words and sharing what you shared with.
And one last thought, I appreciate it, President Mark. May we have the inspiration to maybe, have our own Martin Luther in our community. You guys are setting our future leaders, so always have that dream. I believe that it's possible. I mean, the sky's the limit. It's great to see these young people here for the meeting, and we really need to empower them. They look to us for an example, and maybe we remember that.
Wise words. Item E is approval of the meeting agenda. I was advised by our superintendent that we are gonna have to forego one of our presentations. So if there is no other requests to amend the agenda, I will make a motion to approve the agenda with the tabling of item I-B, a presentation for the Richard Siegel grant. We will get to that at a later meeting.
Second.
We have a second from Vice President Cynthia. Could you please call for the roll?
Board Member Concha,
Yes.
Board Member King,
Yeah,
Secretary Trujillo,
Yes.
Vice President Spray,
Yes.
President Flores.
Yes. Item F is public comment. At this time, any interested persons wishing to speak during public comment? Anybody online? No. So we will move forward from public comment to item G, which is I was informed by the superintendent that in January is School Board Recognition Month. And I'm very appreciative of this being placed on the agenda. I know the board works very hard behind the scenes. A lot of times people think we just attend meetings and try to look important, but in all reality, the important people are the teachers and the administrators and the ones that are boots on the ground every day and the parents that support our kids. So at this time, I will turn it over to our superintendent.
Board President Flores, Vice President Spray, January is School Board Recognition Month, and as such, on behalf of the district, we got together and each of the campuses has quote unquote adopted a board member, and we'll like to give a little bit of recognition. We're gonna first start off with Member Concha, and that presentation will be by Arroyos.
Board President Flores, Dr. Lehman, school board members, colleagues and community members. It's an honor to be selected to come up and speak to on behalf of our school and our school board members. Ms. Concha, I just want to introduce you. I'm sure you probably already know, we have Lisa Anastasia here, Isabella, her parents are back here, Tammy and Mr. Leon Martinez. We want to thank them for allowing us to use to bring their children here tonight to help us. And Ms. Concha, our staff and our students were so proud and to learn so many great things. But the presentation you gave to us when you first started, you talked about being the first Native American from Taos Pueblo to be on our school board. What an honor it is for our females to see that in our community, regardless of what culture we are. And we all know and value how much work that you guys do to help us out in our community. And I think that sometimes you go unnoticed, regardless of how much time we spend, decisions you make that really affect us behind the scenes. And we're proud to be a school in the district that honors our school board members, our superintendent and our leaders. And we just want to say thank you for all the work you do and the inspiration you gave me as a leader of our school. To hear the passion in your voice when you spoke to us on how proud you were to really be part of the Taos Pueblo represents, and that's a pretty big deal. Such as you, I was born in this community, and our community means a lot to us, regardless of what nationality or culture. Our community means a lot to us. And when I was a student in Taos High School, we had teachers that said, go off and educate yourselves, gain some world experience, and then someday come back to give to your community. I was one of those individuals that came back just as you did. So I want to thank you for taking the time to be part of our school board and to really reflect on the important tasks and decisions you make as part of our school board. So we want to thank you. And on behalf of Rosa Norte and our students, we have a small gift for you. And there's a lot of things that smell really good. It was in my car for a while, so it's like aromatherapy in my car, but it was really nice. And we'd like to hand this over to you. And thanks for all the work you've done. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mayor, for that presentation.
Thank you.
Up next. Up next for Member King, we have Enos Garcia.
So President Flores, Dr. Layton, board members, thank you for everything you do for us and all the great decisions you make for not just our staff, but our students. And we would like to present Mr. King with this amazing bag. Thank you. You supported us long even before you were a board member in different ways in the community and always have asked us what we would like for our schools and our hopes and dreams for our students and what we needed. So we really appreciate all the efforts that you've put into Enos Garcia over the years, even before becoming a board member. And so we have a group of students here that Ms. Leilani, our vice principal, is going to introduce.
So we have Katie, we have Leslie, we have Mia and Kaya. And girls, you may want to come and do that.
Why don't you guys turn so we can get a picture? You want to turn around? Okay. Just look at the right there.
Ready?
So first grade gave that card for you and it's a trifold card. So they got really creative with what they did. And
There's more in there?
yeah,
Oh.
so each of our grade level teams. Contributed to that recipe for something.
I'll be sure to put a date on it, so when you guys all become famous leaders in our world and our community, I could have an official autograph. Appreciate
So
it.
thank you for the ways you inspire our students.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for that. Up next, for secretary from here, we have House High School.
Good evening, everybody. Secretary Trujillo, we got you in the draft, I guess. You're number one pick. Thank you, Secretary Trujillo, for everything you've done. Board, thank you all for everything you've done. We really appreciate it. I know it's a thankless job. It's impossible to make everybody happy, and you guys have done amazing in doing that. My apologies quickly for Mr. Edit on not being able to be here. Unfortunately, your son had a little bit of an accident up at the ski valley. She gave me a quick call and I just came from feeding the cows. So that's why I'm dressed the way that I am. Probably understands. But yes, thank you guys very much. We really appreciate everything. Secretary Trujillo, it was an honor to have you, to be able to present this to you. And thank you so much for everything that you've done. We appreciate everything you've done, everything the board has done. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you for being so great. Thank you so much. Now if you turn around.
Oh, yes. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Our high schoolers are even.
Thank you, Taos High School, Mr. Quintana, for that. Up next, we have Vice President Spray, and up will be Taos Middle School.
Yay.
President Flores, members of the board, Dr. Layton, Ms. Spring.
Yes, ma'am.
We did not get you in the draft. Okay, we adopted you. But thank you from the bottom of our hearts. My time in my position, I have seen you work for our schools, work for our programs, speak up, ask questions. And like Mr. Quintana said, it is a thankless job for all of you. And we know that it's not easy. It's not easy. And we just thank you all for your dedication, for your time. This is Miguel Romo. He is an 8th grader at Taos Middle School. He was not drafted either. I asked him and he
We're
said,
the
yes, I
chosen.
will. Let's call my dad. So this is Miguel.
The chosen ones. Thank you, Lincoln. No, it's okay. I'm sweaty too.
Ready?
Thank you, Taos Middle School Principal Quintana. So, up next, we have President Flores, who will be presented a gift by Ranchos, I think is dear to his heart.
President Flores.
All right.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, how cool is that? Oh, look at that. That's why you got that.
So thank you, President Flores. We were really excited. I almost had to arm wrestle a couple of people so that we could have you, but I said, he's the Ranchos Mustang. We have to have President Flores. And his grandpa was one of our principals for many, many, many years, who was wonderful, dedicated. My mother, when she was superintendent, loved him. And she said, I can always count on Principal Martinez for anything. We did do a little bit of, to create the basket, we did call your mom to find out what your favorite things were. So she told us what all your favorite things were. His mom and I went to high school together, so I know. And we were also in the same, we commuted to Santa Fe for many years. So I felt confident in calling her and asking her what your favorite snacks were. So you will find that in your basket. We also were able to have, each one of our classrooms wrote you a card and they signed it. So those are in here. And this morning I had all of our student council members take a picture in front of our marquee. So if you come to our school, you will see there's a thank you on our marquee to you.
And it's up there, put it up for you.
Oh, good. Yeah, so it's right there. So when you come to our school, please go to our marquee to see that. We appreciate you, everything that you've done for Ranchos, and your dedication to the entire school district is amazing. All of you are amazing. And I know all of you help Ranchos out, help out all of our schools, and we really appreciate that. This is Alyssa Salazar. She's the president of our student council, and her sister Maria. She's also in student council. Everybody was elected to student council. So we had our student council members were elected in their classrooms, and then we allowed our fifth graders to actually run for president and vice president. So Alyssa won. Her mother Naomi's here, who is one of our teachers. She's one of our life skills teachers, and their dad is here too. And we really thank them because they rushed over here from ski. So we had ski program today. So thank you so much, President Flores.
Ladies, can I take your hand? Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, we need to
Appreciate you.
We gotta do a photo. Ready? Ready? Thank you.
I want to thank everybody that participated in the board recognition. I especially want to thank Ranchos Elementary for adopting me and getting me in the draft or whatever you want to say. It's been a true honor to serve the school district. I come from a family that was very dedicated to the education of our students. My grandfather was the principal at Ranchos Elementary, like we heard from Dr. Serna Wall, and my grandmother also served on the school board. So it's been known that my greatest honors to serve the district and to serve the parents and the students. And I'm very passionate about it. And just want to thank everybody. It really warms my heart.
President Flores, we have two more presentations. Cyber Magnet is one of our campuses, and what they did is they elected to go ahead and give one item to each board member. And so here for our principal, Carla Martinez, is our Director of Safety, Security, and Operations, as well as our Associate Superintendent.
For President Flores, Dr. Layton, members of the board, on behalf of Cyber Magnet, I want to thank all of you for the dedication that you have shown to our school district and that you've looked out for our tiny little school here that's a little sleeper that keeps on growing. I like to joke with them how small they are, but they actually are growing in size, and it's because of the care that you have had throughout the years of what this school looks like. So on behalf of the students there and our principal, we have something for each of you.
Thank you.
The right color. How sweet. And the principal did keep the picture in the front.
Oh, my God.
Got artwork too.
I don't feel my flag.
Thank you.
What a great prize. I hope this survives me. You're gonna live with me.
We have a piece who, from Arroyos that came in for member contract because we want to make sure to get a photo. Are they still here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, girls. Come around. Yeah, come around.
Lastly, we do have a community that wanted to have appreciation. And that is dessert. I heard somebody wanted some dessert. The community wanted to offer their appreciation by giving a little bit of dessert.
Yeah, look, just because, well, from us, from the Flores family, we know how late your meetings go. Firsthand, and just a little sweet treat for the night.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Oh, that's on my favorite.
Oh, that.
Okay.
Is that the,
Oh, thank you. Mark.
We do an executive session.
You have to really give it serious. I'm already. I do want to say. I'm so spoiled tonight.
Thank you so much. For President Vice President, myself, my presentation comes in the form of a board report, so. But as superintendent, I would like to say that I am blessed to have such a great school board who continue to champion for not only our schools, our staff and our students. So thank you all very much. It is an honor to be serving with you alongside you to serve our students and our community.
Appreciate it, Superintendent. Thank you.
Secretary Trujillo.
You don't realize how humbling this is to receive such beautiful gifts from you all. I want to say that I never anticipated that I would be on the school board, and I've said it over and over again. I just came on by, I'm not going to say it was my fate, but it's been a blessing. Thank you so much for allowing me to serve you, and I'll continue to do that. And, but I have learned so much from you all because you are educators. And we're here to glean off of you. And I'm amazed and I hold you in such high esteem. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Every moment that we spend here, the late hours or the sacrifices that our families make to have us here, I want you to know that it's with great passion and dedication that we serve. I was never given the opportunity to to serve because I worked for 25 years for government and worked very long hours, 12, 14-hour days sometimes. And but I always admired the people that would come forth and in service, that would volunteer. And I thought one of these days I want to do that, but I never realized that it was going to just be there for me. And I'm just so grateful. Thank you for allowing me and again, just serve with such a wonderful board. This is my second board. And again, what a pleasure it has been to serve.
Thank you, Secretary. Would any of the board wish to make any comments? Not sure feel compelled, but want to open it up.
I would say that, guys, we're just getting started, and I echo Board Member Trujillo's words. We all bring a different perspective. If you guys missed our welcome back ceremony, superintendent, you know, his ideas, and you guys know, if someone calls you by your name, how can you help? That's half of it. And our names are up here. We are here with love in our hearts, and there's great things that come for our district. So just hold tight. Thank you so much.
I just want to say I'm completely blown away by this and thank you all so much. I cannot tell you how, it's such an honor, not only to vote on behalf of people that voted for me in my district, but also to get to know all of you and watch how you each handle your different schools and all the different ins and outs and stuff that goes on. And I really have appreciated especially the part where you all feel like you could trust us and come to Dr. Layton, and then it comes to us on things that we can do to make things better for you. And I want to encourage you to keep that up. I love the dialogue. Everyone knows I believe in putting stuff on the table and fixing it. So anyway, thank you all so much. I'm just blown away. It's wonderful. Can't wait to go through my basket. Thank you. And I'm so honored to have another favorite school. It's awesome. Thank you, Linda.
I just want to say thank you as well and carry the same sentiment as these board members. I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. Again, it kind of fell into my lap. I never thought I would, have a position on the school board, although I have been a youth advocate for so long. So I think it's fitting that I ended up where I'm at. And I'm humbled to serve my community, whether it's within the town of Taos or Taos Pueblo. And I want to thank my family for being able to present this. I didn't know this was happening. And Dr. Medina, I'm super happy to be adopted by I've never been adopted before, so yeah, I'm also excited on what's in the future. Like Board Member King said, we're just getting started, and I've learned so much about all of your schools in the last year and just the operations of education in general, things that I, didn't expect, that I didn't know, and I still continue to look forward to learning more. So thank you all again.
It's my turn. I just want to thank everybody, thank the teachers. Growing up in a household where my grandfather was a teacher, and knowing the passion that teachers have and those that work day to day in our schools is very honorable. I think that is also a thankless job to the administrators that support our teachers, those that have been teachers and moved on to administration, all the families and the parents. I think being a parent is also a very thankless job, but we do it with love and we do it with passion. I want to thank the Salazar family and the girls for bringing up my gifts, and thank Ranchos Elementary, Dr. Senator Marmal, and just as all the other board members that sit beside me here. It definitely is a passion, and we do it with love. We want to make sure that our schools are successful, that our staff and teachers are successful. And, there's always room for improvement from board members, from, the boots on the ground, and let's just continue to work hard and, make Taos, an even better place for our kids and for our families. So thank you, everybody, and, we will continue to work very hard for all of you. Appreciate you all very much. Okay, with that being said, we move to some big business at hand. Every year as part of the democratic process, which, I firmly, wholeheartedly believe in this, we come in the month of January for the reorganization of the school board. It's a time for either the transition of the officers or the retainment of our officers. That serve, the school board. I currently serve as president and have been very honored to do so. Vice President Cynthia Spray has been serving in her capacity, and Secretary Trujillo, Susan Trujillo, has been serving as our secretary. And at this time, I spoke with Vice President Spray as to kind of how we were gonna approach this subject, and I told her that I wanted it to happen organically.
And I said, you started yoga, but I never heard you say, you're so lucky.
It's been the greatest honor to serve the board, and I believe that being a true leader doesn't always mean that you lead from the front. Sometimes you lead from the back or push from the back, or you walk alongside those that you serve. It's my sentiment that, I serve at the will of the board. The president serves at the will of the board. And it would be my greatest honor to serve in any capacity within this board. And with that being said, I would like to open it up for any kind of discussion as to how the board wishes to proceed with the election of the officers. I don't really want to lead and direct this conversation, but I believe that it's the board in its entirety that should make that decision. I would not be offended by any means if I was not chosen to continue to serve as president. And if I was, I would serve in the greatest capacity. And I know just as everyone on this board would serve in any duty or capacity as requested or directed by the board. I know some of us may have some hesitation to serve in certain capacities, but I would like to leave it open for any dialogue, conversation, or nominations for the continuation of our officers. And if those that are currently serving as officers would like to maybe speak as to if they want to continue to serve in their capacity or wish to allow, well, we have to allow it to be opened up for nominations and so forth.
Well, I love the passion that it comes out of me from being on this board. Sometimes too much passion, maybe. But I love being the vice president too, Mark. I love that. I've been happy to fill in when you can't make a meeting, doing that too. What the group wants me, however you want me to be helping out in this 5-person endeavor is great. I enjoy being vice president a lot. I'm happy filling in, as I said to you, and have made time to do it and happy to continue making time to do it. Whatever, I don't know, I'd like to hear what other people have to say. And Susan?
Excuse me. I have served as secretary, and again, I just feel like this is my position and this is my place. I just didn't enjoy just navigating through the paperwork that I have to sign, but being here always, knowing what the signature that I am putting on these documents is very important to me. So to me, I validate whatever is being done. by my signature. So to me, I am okay with continuing to be the secretary for that reason.
It's been great. I mean, the learning curve, you didn't share with our attendees, but you know, we read books too. We're just finished a book. We're going to training. So there's requirements for us as well. No, it's been great. It's been, like I shared with you, President Mark, you made it very, easy, I feel, to use those words. I don't use it lightly of becoming a school board member, town school board member. You're open, you have an open door policy, even though you don't have an office. I think, right now, I think we, like you said, just like the superintendent, we can, reach out when there's a need. And so I'm fine right now with, being a board member at large. I don't think there's any, you know, you have additional responsibilities and we appreciate what you have to do. A lot of people don't know. President Mark has to approve the agenda. It's a lot of work. I know it's plenty of work, being a new board member, so I'm fine with, continuing, the officers as it is now for myself.
It's been an interesting ride the first year. I think nothing but positive feedback, from community members who, you know, just have good things to say about what they're seeing and also not afraid to share what they would like to see improved and all of that. And I'm always one for change and stirring things up and, you know, just the excitement of it all. And, in my first year of serving, like I said, I learned a lot from Mark. I've also seen Miss Cindy and her spunk and how she said it. Your words is too much, but I don't think it's never too much for me as a woman as well to see your level of passion and dedication. I would like to, at some point, I don't know if it's now, if we agree upon it or not, but I would like to see you and your leadership in the form of president. And that's just the faith and belief that I have that, you know, to give you that opportunity from vice president to president and, not really relieve Mark, but I think, you know, he deserves, you know, a break, so to speak. You know, there's just no other way to put it, just that many years of dedication. Should he choose to do another 4 years and do 16 years with us, I'm under any leadership, I think we will thrive. I don't have a problem with the way we're set up now, but again, I would just put in a nomination for Ms. Gray as president.
Thank you, guys. I'm totally honored. Thank you.
I'm more than happy to serve in any capacity. It's been an honor to serve as president. I'm more than happy to support what the board wishes. I do feel that the board has been working very well. We have a new superintendent who gradually getting him to, move from crawling to walking, shall we say. I think, whatever however the board wishes to move forward, at this point in time, I think as president, I will, refrain from, making any initial nominations or, motions to appoint anybody. But I serve at the will of the board and, will invite, any motions to be entertained, for, whatever the wishes of the board are.
We have a motion. This needs a second. If we don't have a second, I guess I'll make a motion to leave the officers as present. It's kind of funny because our calendar year is not the year, Superintendent, when did you come in?
May 20th.
May 20th. So just for continuity, there's always the saying, I think you guys know in Taos that it's a revolving door, and that I think we're all here with a dedication, 110% to say the least. I know, I think you said it well, Board Member Concha, that we're not afraid of anything. And I would stand by that 110%, which is great. No one is not wanting to be here. So I believe it's working well. And what they say, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
May I say something to the motion?
Please, yes.
I think we all work really well to get together too, particularly Mark and I work together well. I think the one thing that, we kind of, anything you ask me to do, I do, and anything that I want to do, you let me do, so that works pretty well. But I would say that my biggest thing that I would like to see is for you to have the kind of time that you need in your other job and in your ranch so that you're not stressed. So the more, if we leave it the way it is, that's fine, but I want you to give me things to do off your plate. I'm happy to do that. I think that it's sometimes two heads are better than one. And I'm happy to do that because I think that my only frustration ever is that I worry sometimes that you pull too many different directions at one time. And I don't like watching you be pulled like that.
Oh, I definitely enjoy, serving in many capacities. I'm not sure if my wife is still present. She knows this. I tend to, burn the candle at both ends. It's an honor to serve, in my current capacity. For those that are aware or not aware, I have recently been appointed as assistant town manager, which has been a great honor. It's even to be able to continue to serve my community in an even larger capacity. So I feel that there never is enough time to do all that we want to do. But with your comments, if there's a motion from Board Member King, if there's a second, I will definitely work to I'm trying to find the right words here to foster your development into what would be the next step would be presidency. I'm not sure. This is an election year. There's questions on the table as to if I'm going to choose to run again for the school board. I know Vice President Spray and myself are in that same election cycle. She is also contemplating if she will choose to run. It is a big commitment. It takes a lot of time. Late night conversations with the superintendent, late night conversations with the board, trainings and meetings. So those that don't understand what it takes to be a board member, I would not take that lightly. It takes an immense commitment. And, you know, I'm a very, passionate person. I'm one of those individuals that when I commit to something, I do it till the wheels fall off. And it's hard for me to let go, of those things that I hold dear to my heart, and serving my community, serving the administrators, serving the teachers, supporting the district. I always wonder, you know, if I'm not doing it, who's gonna do it, and are they gonna do a better job than me? And I think that there's always room for improvement. I lay my head down at night sometimes wondering, you know, if I could do things better, if I could do more. And I wake up with the same thoughts. There's a lot of things sometimes that are left open-ended that it's hard to get to everything in the day. But I'm more than happy to serve, as stated earlier, in any capacity. I'm a board member first and foremost. I was elected a board member. It took me, I served as needed on the board, eventually moved up to secretary and then vice president, and honored to serve as president. We'll continue to serve in any capacity, and we'll work closely with all the board members to work on fostering their development. I think me and Vice President Spray, if the board officers remain as currently serving, would like to, and if she chooses to, and shares with me that she wants to run again and serve the board, I would be more than happy to, at some point, if I'm selected to serve as president, step aside and allow her to have the gavel that's been gifted to me from the superintendent in the district, so that she can start to grow and understand the responsibilities that comes with being president. And again, you know, I believe in the democratic process, and that is what we are here to do today. And
I was gonna suggest that, I think, I'm sure policy would allow us to partway through the year, do that, make that not necessarily a formal change, but a change in terms of me taking over and you kind of helping me.
phase out.
Phase you out, phase me in. No, I would be happy to do that. It's always nice to have more options than just one or the other. And I would like to have a chance to do that while I'm still on the board. I'd love to have a chance to do that. There's a couple projects I want to get done, and I'd hate to have to ask you to get them done because they're going to take a lot of time. Or also, if you get to the point where you're going, oh gosh, this is too much, then we could always reconfigure that at any point. It doesn't have to all be set in stone tonight.
Can I comment?
Yes, please do.
I've always been of something that has governed my way of thinking, and that is that we should all have mentors, and we should all have the protege and have the protege. So I'm listening to the conversation between these two leaders, and I'm thinking it lends itself to a different type of and again, just the amenable place that is so necessary in a board, in an organization, that you just don't leave the board unknowing and just grasping what to do. And I think it's having Mark here that has had the experience of years and years of being on the board. And it would be, and Vice President Cynthia, they would want to come into that place. Just the dual type of leadership would be so incredible. And that they could complement each other. But you're teaching, you're mentoring, Vice President Spray in a way that would groom her into this position. If for some reason you decide not to run another term, or if she doesn't, she would have been given the opportunity to be so much a part of the structure part of the meetings and how they develop for the rest of us and for the schools. So that being said, I'm really open to this partnership type of a relationship. And board vice presidency, which you might really want to come into.
Ask your wife if I can, it's okay if I shadow your husband, but you won't, she'll understand, right?
Well, it was never my intentions to, if I am gonna move forward in the current capacity, if we all are, it's not my intentions to, strong arm the board and I'm not, Vladimir Putin, who's been, the president for how many, 20 years, change is good. Like I said earlier, a true leader, needs to know when to lead from the front and when to lead from the back and also lead from the side and do whatever is necessary. I haven't made the decision that I'm gonna run again. It's gonna take some discussion with my family. It does take a lot of time away from my family. I've been serving in this capacity for, 11 years. And it's something that I truly love and very passionate about. And you don't want to leave a family. I feel strongly that we have a family here. And it's going to be a tough decision when that time comes. The declaration of candidacy is in the fall. So I still have some months to think about that. But I'm more than happy, and I want to see all these board members grow and be able to move into these leadership positions. With that being said, I'm more than happy to work to mentor Vice President Spray, work more closely with her so that she can develop and grow and learn the capacities of the presidency. If that's the choosing of the board, if the board wants change, again, I hold no offense to that. It is the will of the board. So, I'm open to anything, but currently until things do move forward and change the item on the agenda, there is a motion from Board Member King. If there is a second, then we can call for a vote. If no second, then we can entertain another motion.
If I could just add a little more to my thoughts. As a new board member, it feels really abrupt, to have to make these decisions. I didn't know that this was going to be the process or what the process is. And in my statements, I do want to see Cindy serve in that capacity at some point, and I don't know what those options are, what the opportunities are, how they're presented, when they're presented. And so, yeah, I think for me, a little more clarification and insight would have been good in how we, navigate this process. And yeah, just standing by my thought that I do at any point, whether it would be tonight or in the future, that Cindy has that opportunity to be able to take on the role and to learn and, as you said, give other board members an opportunity to also learn, that. And I don't even know how Cindy would feel to, just throw her in tonight if that were to be the case, or as Mr. King said, Board Member King said, just leave it at it as is. And so, for me, a little bit of guidance in those thoughts is helpful to know, like I said, where the opportunities are going to arise. And again, doing a change of the board tonight, it does feel abrupt to me in a way, but I do want to make sure that the opportunity lies ahead.
Oh, definitely. And again, typically, there could be a lot of politicking behind the scenes. If I really wanted to strong arm the presidency, I could have reached out to, without with a rolling quorum, contacted each one of you and advocated for my presidency. I extremely refrained from that. I know Vice President Spray had reached out to me, which as a president and vice president, we work very closely together to discuss this. I personally felt that, and I spoke with my wife about this, I wanted the discussion to happen in an open meeting. I didn't to go backdoor politicking. There should be a room for change, but at the end of the day, I feel that it's the will of the board. Typically, it's done since I've been on the board the last 11 years. I'm just following the historical practice. If the reorganization takes place at the beginning of January. I served under the previous president, Jim Sanborn, for 4 years. I'm not asking to serve as president for 4 years. I serve the district at the will of the board, the will of, you guys are all elected to appoint a president and a vice president and a secretary. It's just a historical practice and a dialogue that's done in January. And I would believe it unless the board, I actually talked to the superintendent to have this placed on the agenda. It could have been something that we could have just forgone and I can continue to serve as president, in the same way Mr. Putin serves Russia. But I believe that, I wanted to have this dialogue because I think it's promoting the democratic process and it's something that needs to happen. Sometimes there's questions as to the leadership at hand. Sometimes there's if there's confidence in the leadership at hand, we need to make that decision here amongst us. In front of the cameras, in front of the audience. I think it's good to have this discussion. I do believe that Vice President Spray would like to take more of a leadership role, and I'm more than happy to mentor her or continue. I believe that with my experience and my knowledge of the district, I have the most confidence in my capacity as president. I believe that I can and will do a good job. And I want to serve the district to the best of my ability. And I feel that the best of my ability is serving as president with my length of service. But again, I would not take it personal or be offended if the board wanted to move in a different direction.
I have a suggestion. Because I'm not, neither Mark or I are sure of what we're gonna do for the future. And so this could possibly be both of our last years serving. What if we vote tonight? And then revisit it in June, so we could potentially, then I would have a chance to also have a chance to be president before I'm then, and if I do run again and win, then I think of continuity.
Of course. And and my thoughts on this is, I don't want to, I'm not one to, if the board chooses otherwise, that's the board's choosing, but I'm not one to step aside. I serve a lot of roles. I'm the president of my SECIA Association. I'm honored to serve as the president of the School Board Association. I've been appointed as the assistant town manager. I'm very confident in my leadership and my capabilities, but at the same time, I'm not here to delegate for myself, or it's the will of the board and what the board chooses. And if the board wants to revisit this in June, we can put it on the agenda and make a note to do that. And by any means, I'm not here to, and I did reach out to any individual board member and ask for a nomination or ask for their support in this capacity. It's the will of the board.
I didn't either.
No.
But this way, that seems to be a good, sort of a happy medium, so that, if we put it back on the agenda mid-year, then we can work together real closely between now and then and put it back on the agenda and see if that works for people. If people want it, I would like to have a try at it. And if it doesn't, then that's fine too, but if you put it back.
Well, I'm more than amenable. I serve the district, and I'm here to work for the staff in the school district. It's really, And again, like I said, I'm gonna refrain from, any nominations. We heard, Board Member Concha, and I, you know, hear her sentiments. And understand and have no, disagreement with what she has stated or any counter argument. Change is good. And then again, you know, Board Member King has stated, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
It's wonderful to both be loved so much, isn't it?
Yeah.
And be admired, that's awesome.
I mean, it takes a lot of
And
work.
it says a lot that we're trying to work it out in a way that feels really good for everybody. Says a lot about us, I think, as a board.
I think so too.
We might, oh, go ahead.
I was thinking that this is the ultimate compromise and, I'm glad that we're able to have this open discussion, and really show the community how this is how we work even behind closed doors and, even as a united front. And I'm fully confident in your abilities to carry out your term and your role as president. And, I just wanted, you know, to be able to make it transparent that I do want to see Susan, because I do believe she's capable as well. We all are, but I just want, you know, like I said, I didn't know the process. I learned a lot even in just the last 5 minutes, of how this goes. And so, in light of what I just learned, I would like to withdraw my nomination and move to table it for June as Cynthia suggested.
You good with that? You good with that?
Yeah, no, I'm happy, to just continue to serve my capacity like I stated, a board member first and foremost, and, having worked my way up to the presidency has been an honor. I don't think when somebody runs for the school board, their intentions, like some might, you know, I'm gonna make my way to be the president so I could, set an agenda of sorts. I have no agenda other than the success of the district and the success of our staff and, success of our students. And our superintendent. You know, I've had discussions with the superintendent. We sit here side by side and, you know, the selection of him, was a very, good process, and we, at the end of the day, came away with a great superintendent. We had great candidates. You know, the board had some, decisions that were very difficult to make, and I want to ensure the success of Superintendent Layton and all my board members. And, you know, I'm a team player. That's first and foremost. You know, you got to come off the bench and be a star in your role. That's what you do. If you're a starter, then you better score some points. You know, and that's how it goes.
So there is a motion on the table, but if we get rid of that one, I'll make a motion to table this till June. Leave it the way it is now and table it till June.
But don't we need a motion to keep officers as,
That
So
was
that's-
your motion, yeah.
So
yeah, we keep
board
it,
member King had a motion first, so he would.
and you want to modify it, yeah, so I would say that, I guess maybe we have discussion. Board member Susan, you haven't said anything lately. What's your thoughts? I'll table it. I would say and really, all of us have an opportunity to be in leadership. That's what the board's about. And President Mark has been trying to say this. Just like you alluded to, I mean, when you run, you just run for the school board. And obviously, as you get into the, as you say,
I'm not specific on.
you're right, into the weeds, into the process, you realize that, oh, there's officers, and each of our training, we learn what different districts are doing. We, you know, it's like, oh, that's something to take back to Taos. So I think you said this, President Mark, and let's remember what our mandate is to be effective and for student outcomes. If we're working together, as council said it, and people, you know, that's why we're here to see how we come to our decisions. So I think, you know, everyone's working as tandem. Board member Country, who knows, you could slide up in this seat sooner than later. I mean, it's how soon this that process happens. So let's just kind of, I think, move forward. President Mark has allowed, he lets people share in different community events, which is great. There's things that Board Member Spray has a passion about, the art, things like that. All those things have its role. And I just think that we, at the end of the day, it's about being an effective school board for Taos Municipal School.
So there was a motion on the floor from Board Member King to keep the officers as is. In order for that motion to pass, there would need to be a second.
Do we need to do that if we just table it till June and we stay the same anyway, don't we?
Well,
We've got
there was a motion previous, there's a motion on the floor, so
Yeah.
if there's a second, then, it'll move forward. If there's no second, then
We need another motion.
there'll be another motion.
What's your comments, Board Member Stevens?
Well, I think I could second what, Board Member Concha would,
But she just,
didn't you restate it?
no,
Restate it?
she said she went with my motion.
There was a,
You
there,
went with this?
so there was a nomination, but no motion for the nomination.
Yeah, so I withdrew my nomination so that
Okay.
we can, continue, table it in June, as Cynthia said, and move forward as.
So we'll stay the same till June, right?
So
Can we say
let me
that?
back up here. So Board Member Concha, made a nomination. That wasn't in the form of a motion.
Okay.
Board Member King made a motion
I think that's-
to leave it as such. Any motion needs a second to move forward. If there's a second to Board Member King's motion to leave the officers as such, that would call for a vote.
Could he amend his motion to include making sure it's on the agenda again in June? Could he amend the motion to include that in his motion?
So the motion would be, so you want consideration and,
Mhm. Yeah,
uh,
that's what's,
I'll defer to the superintendent. Is that
So
Is that illegal?
there's a motion on the table,
right?
and so if there's no second on the motion, then the motion does not go through.
So we don't change officers?
So then it would be someone else provided another motion,
Right.
given the discussions here. Then that motion would go for, a second or not, and then a vote. As long as, if there's a second, then there's a vote. If there's not a second, then it does not.
It dies for no motions, no activity. Okay, well, if we can revisit that, that's what my question is.
Well, you have a motion on the table,
To leave as,
so it just needs a second, or if there's not a second.
and so the question is,
Doesn't close it, it's switched.
can we add, are we able to revisit our officers midterm?
That's always an option, of course. Yeah.
It is something we can do.
So there's a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Well, I'm willing to amend my motion to leave officers as is, and we amend it, we review it, I guess it will be June. Our first June meeting of the board meeting.
okay, I'll second that.
Call for the roll.
Board Member Concha,
Yes.
Board Member King,
Yes,
Secretary Trujillo,
Yes,
Vice President Spring,
Yes.
President Flores.
Yes. Okay, lengthy discussion. Thank you all.
Perfect.
Moving right along to item I, presentations. IA is the PLTW grant, Taos High School math teacher, Greg Manuel Ryan.
Good evening, President Flores, President Living, board members. My name is actually Greg Manuel, so there's a couple of typos on the agenda. So it's just Greg Manuel, no Rael. I am a teacher at the high school. I'm not a math teacher, I'm a science teacher. So I teach chemistry and computer science. PLTW is an acronym for Project Lead the Way. They are a curriculum provider. They're well respected. We've been using their curriculum in our biomedical science program for quite a while. And last year we started using it in our computer science curriculum. through that program, they offer grants. In, let's see, it was October of last year, I applied for a grant through them, was awarded it in December. So the grant is for $10,000. The grant will be applied towards acquiring laptops, which is going to support the growth of our computer science program at Taos High School. So we feel computer science is more and more important in our kids' education, and we want to grow the program there. And this grant is going to help us expand to other classrooms, and be happy to answer any questions you have about that.
Yes, Mr. Manuel.
Yes,
So you applied for this grant and will be awarded the grant?
I was awarded.
All right.
You awarded in December.
Okay. And the purpose of the grant is to get some laptops?
Yes, the purpose of the grant is to purchase some laptop computers that we will be teaching the computer science programs.
Well, that's awesome. I want to thank you for taking the initiative to apply for a grant on your own and to provide the students with this initiative. How do you plan to use those laptops? Just elaborate just a little bit.
So in order to teach some of the programming, computer science classes or curricula, you need more powerful computers than the Chromebooks that all the students are given. So you need some special hardware, you need some special applications. And so we're gonna, over time, this is part of a suite of hardware that we're gonna acquire that's gonna allow students to come into the lab and basically do the program, do their lessons on it.
Great. If I may ask, how long have you been with the district?
I've only been 3 years. So, yeah, this is my first time teaching, but prior to that, I've had a 30-year career in computer science. Really, I work for software development companies, large and small across the country. So I'm pretty passionate about technology, and I feel there's a unique opportunity to leverage that experience and that background. I want to have that to the kids and have them go out and be successful.
All right, well, we're very thankful for you. That's it's great to have you in our district, Vice President.
Thank you, of course. What, do you teach all the grades in the high school, or do you teach, what grade do you teach?
So chemistry is typically the 10th graders. Computer science is, the plan is, I have some plans for this moving forward. I would like all students, all grades to be able to take these classes.
Yeah, right. That's awesome to hear. Good job. It's nice to meet you.
You too. Thank you.
My father was a science teacher.
Oh.
And it's interesting. Actually, he had a major in math too. So it's interesting how the connection between the science and the computer technology, because it's just taking it to a different level. I think my father would be so excited about that, because it was very innovative in his thinking for the time that he did teach. So I'd love to see science. But it's interesting how I never could grasp the science part, because I'm an accountant and on the side. So I think our brains got from from left to right.
Right.
And so it's different.
Yes.
So, but I always admired I think who he was, and his approach to life in its entirety. So
Right.
I applaud you for being a science teacher and taking it to another level.
Thank you. Yes,
So how many, appreciate it, good to see you.
you too.
How many computers are you planning on?
Well, $10,000 is gonna buy 9.5 computers, probably.
9.5.
So, but there was other funding, so what I'm quickly learning in my 3 years of being a teacher is it's all about the funding. The interesting thing about teaching computer science is there are technology companies with very deep pockets that want talent. And so if you're willing to go out there and find that money, so that's my new mode, is go out and find the money. So I'm expect I'll be back here pretty soon with more gifts for you guys. So.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Awesome. Good work.
Well, we do have can I come? We do have a grants person, so you might want to have this conversation with her.
Yeah, I think we've been.
Good.
Nice.
Mr. Mello, maybe, first, let me apologize for the discrepancy in the name. Thank you for absolutely looking out for the kids. If I may, correct me if I'm wrong, Project Lead the Way, do they have pillars that they follow?
They do.
Do you happen to have those handy?
Well, they
Didn't
differ.
mean to put you on the spot.
Yeah, no, they differ depending on the discipline. So they're very well known for their biomedical science program, and I apologize, I don't know those pillars. We've been using the computer science curriculum that they built this year. It's still, as we in the, computer science world, it's still in beta, I would say. So there's been little rough spots, but the challenge with computer science and curriculum, I don't want to take most of your time, but the technology is changing so fast. It's hard to teach. Like, you get a package of a curriculum and all of a sudden it's outdated because things, you talk about ChatGPT and AI and all that stuff. It's just going to be this constant game. So, we're looking for ways to be as agile as possible and be able to teach to the moment. So
Long ways away from Fortran and C++ and.
original, yes,
And
absolutely.
last question, Mac or PC, right?
Yeah, a little both. So I say I'm device agnostic, so. Politically correct.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Make sure you're not a stranger. You stay in touch with the superintendent. You see we're a ebb and flow board. We have open discussions. My wife, so you let us know because we're trying to meet you guys halfway.
Yeah.
It's the initiative and it's so great to see that because you have real life experience. I know Mr. Manuel is Greg, and Greg was in the .com industry, and he's from Chicago, that he's in Taos. His wife's retired and has talent as well, HR. So we appreciate you wholeheartedly. Thank you for spending the time.
As I said, I'll be back, so.
I have a question for you.
Oh, yes.
Chicago Bears fan?
I was there, the original, like the man and then that whole shuffling, that whole thing, so.
No comment.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for the presentation and thank you for taking the initiative to apply for the grant. Definitely appreciate that and look forward to continuing to see your face and see you go within the district and support you.
All right, thank you guys, thank you.
Good to see you.
That's awesome.
Yeah, very, very, very.
Okay, moving along is item J, new business, discussion and possible approval of the Taos Administration Board Room Audio Visual System ADI SPL quote in the amount of $129,412.41, including tax. Ms. Maria Gintet, Director of IT and Communications.
So, President Flores, Vice President Spray, members of the board, Dr. Layton, colleagues, community members. I think it's time that we have an enhancement of our boardroom. So tonight I want to talk to you guys about modernizing the meeting space by getting new equipment for our boardroom. Some of the key features that we're looking at is speakers, enhanced sound quality inside the roof. So we're looking, I'm so sorry, I have enough going, it's crazy over here. So we're looking at 3 speakers up here on the roof, 2 speakers in the middle, 3 speakers in the back. We're looking at 2 85-inch TVs behind you, so that the attendees and the people behind us can go ahead and see the presentations that are presented online from anyone presenting here, nice quality images. This next piece took a lot of thought because, we really want to make you guys comfortable as a board. And we had first envisioned 2 65-inch TVs kind of coming down for you to see the presentations here. Some of the ABI kind of said, you know what, your board is going to have their neck hurting. Let's do the NBA screens. So we're looking at 2 65-inch screens on mobile carts that would be in front of your director tables. And so that you guys can view the presentations from your seat and not have to look up. Some of these pieces also include the network cameras, so kind of like the owls you see here, they'll be equipped to follow sound the way that these guys have done for some time. So you're not gonna get kind of this blurred vision anymore. It's gonna be very crystal clear visual. It's going to be the speakers itself are gonna be you're gonna be able to hear better. The people at home are gonna be able to hear much better. Some of the benefits to doing this, it increases transparency and for the community engagement. It improves the accessibility for staff, board members, and the public. And it also facilitates a professional, modern meeting environment. We're looking at this being future ready. So at this point, I stand for questions.
Will there be anything for the board here?
Yes, you guys will have all your personal, all your own microphones. I could set them, I could set them so that you could on all the time, but I think I'm gonna do a touch so that you guys could talk. So, you could set them up both ways, but if you want to speak, you would press the button and so that you could go ahead and you would hear yourself. One of the issues that we have is obviously the acoustics in this room. So working with Mr. Herrera's team and also Mr. Mondragon, they already started to kind of install some pieces up here to help with the acoustics. ABI, the company that we're looking at, also has some ideas, and it's not part of this project, but if we can't get it right, they're working with a company in California to help us with the acoustics in here. So that was probably the most difficult piece, is trying to get around the acoustics and on this project.
Questions?
Thank you, President Flores.
So describe to me better the monitors that you said would be in front of the directors. Will they be there all the time or just during your presentation?
No, they're gonna be there the entire time.
So
The monitors are for the board.
right, will that disturb us being able to see the audience?
No, not at all. They're gonna come up to probably about right
Oh,
here.
okay.
Yeah, they're gonna be on rolling carts. They're gonna come up to, I would say about right here is how they explained.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mhm.
Other questions or comments?
Mr. Gentile, I appreciate you making the comment about you're trying to shop locally. And I'm actually glad that you did reach out, but we know how Taos time is, and that's a sign that we wouldn't get halfway through the deal and then they're nowhere to be found. We know about that.
And with ABI, they are very experienced. They've done our UNM here in Taos. They've worked with Sandia Labs. So this is what they do. This is their profession. This is what they do. This is what they're good at. It is pricey, you know, and I wish we could have used ESSER and ART funds, but at the time, if I'm being honest, I was hoping that we'd come back to the old school meetings where with the camcorder, they were recording, they would give the tape to Miss Sanchez, Linda Sanchez back then. Then we would have it, I guess, in a box if anybody wanted to view it. And I think we're past those days. And these guys did well for us during COVID, and I think we've just outgrown them. And seen, I just want to be forward thinking in technology. I want to be proactive, and I think it's time.
The few times that I've been on Zoom, you miss out so much. The sound, isn't there, the clarity, the presentations, and especially the presentations. And so it's gonna be awesome to be able to have that very crystal clear and the sound, completely captured. So to me, I think this is, again, a very again, you spoke about transparency, a very, everything documented so well. Because, this is basically the future. And, how you recover information again is really, critical. And, to be able to enhance that capability. You don't want to go back and review something that is, it's not very clear or visibly understood. Sometimes even the content of what is being said. And so I think that thank you so much for this presentation. I think it's very well, very much needed. I hope that the acoustics will be a minimal project. And
And there is a little, there is a little bit of electrical work that Mr. Monterguen and I did talk about. It's very minimal. So, with his support and Mr. Herrera's support, I think, ABI will do a really great job for us. And that it also includes a maintenance, piece with it. Part of the piece is, I didn't want them to come set up, leave. It's about teaching me how to use the system, teaching others how to use the system. And if we have technical difficulties, part of that maintenance package is having somebody on site here within 48 hours. I will always keep these guys as backups. And for if we ever have meetings, I think our next one is up to Taos Pueblo. So these guys will go with me to Taos Pueblo, but to have a nice, board meeting environment for in-person.
what about any upgrades that would be necessary? This is, how long is this sustainable? And I believe that our science teacher spoke about the changing environment.
I promise, I did try meeting what he needed for his lab. I did try that, but, we're looking, and what ABI said is a good 10 years.
10 years?
About
Okay.
a good 10
That's
years.
good to know.
And the maintenance piece, I think, is gonna be huge.
Okay.
And Secretary, if I may, to help with the acoustics, we're using sound panels to kind of, yes, it's the sound panels that we're gonna be creating on each one, or placing, or have placed, in that little dome area. And that should alleviate that super feedback that we typically, or super echo that we really hear. So we'll be working that within a small minutes.
Question, the funding for this,
It's gonna be coming out of our ed tech notes. Because of COVID, I was blessed with ARP and ESSER funds where they were able, out of those funds, we were able to purchase devices. I have money left over in my first note, and I'm gonna go ahead and use that money to purchase. And then that still leaves money in the second ed tech note for staff replacement of devices and also student devices, our contract services, and any reoccurring stuff. I did meet with Ms. Maestas, our finance director, to make sure that we could go ahead and encumber that cost.
And that's the notes that, for 3 years?
Yes. It's
So that's good to use that.
and we still haven't fully spent our first note yet, so that's where this is
Okay,
gonna,
awesome.
that's where this is gonna come out of.
Well, good use of that money.
Thank you.
this is an item on the agenda for approval. I just have one quick comment. I really want to thank the superintendent for revamping the boardroom, taking that initiative to modernize and improve the school board meetings. I want to thank Maria for working with him on this. I think this is very well warranted and will improve the audience on the other side of Zoom meetings, and will also enhance our ability to better participate in our board meetings and see presentations and so forth, and also for the audience to be able to better see what is being presented. Would your board have a motion for approval? Superintendent, is there a recommendation?
President Flores, Vice President Spray, I recommend that the approval for the council administration boardroom audiovisual system ABI, SPL quote in the amount of $29,412.41, including tax, be approved as recommended.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Because as I always say, anything Maria wants. You're so smart to put anything through Maria. You did a great
And then,
presentation.
hold on, Maria, after this, call for the vote.
Board Member Concha,
Yes.
Board Member King,
Yes.
Secretary Trujillo,
Yes.
Vice President Spray,
Yes.
President Flores.
Yes. Well, I have a question for you or the superintendent. I'm hearing, Mr. Manuel speak in regards to the need for some additional, laptops for his class and initiative. Is there any way we could utilize any of that funding to maybe help him provide? He said he could afford 9.5. Is there any way you could help him get that other half?
I could
Computer.
definitely meet with him and we could go ahead and talk about it. I did try, we did work together. I think the first time, how many laptops did we get ready for you?
It was 16 or.
16, and then he tries them and he goes, oh my gosh, he's like, I didn't think that, well, they were corrupt for you, they're dinosaurs, right? And we're thinking like, you could get them, they could work. We got all the kids, their, Active Directory accounts, got them on there. I think that lasted how long?
Maybe a week and a half.
Yeah, so we did try accommodating. I just didn't have the newer equipment, for him. He does, he does a great job with the kids. He challenges us in IT with, but, we can definitely work and meet together.
Yes, President Rosa, would
At
that-
a minimum, they did it half. of
we'll
that.
get for that half too.
Yeah, maybe a little bit more if possible. So there's,
Oh, absolutely start that discussion.
President Flores.
Secretary.
Director, yeah. Is it, you mentioned ARPA money. And is there, that ARPA money, is there a balance of that ARPA
Oh,
money?
I
or is
think
it-
that had to have been spent, I think, since, Tanya, when did that have to be spent by? That never done, right?
September 30th.
Yeah.
It's no longer an effective one.
And was there any money left that we could have used that wasn't used?
Oh, they used it all.
We used it all?
Mhm.
Okay, good to know.
They completely used it all, and that's how I've been able to get devices for the last several years. And so that's why it made this money available to me, to go ahead and redo the boardroom.
Okay, I did catch that, and it's good because, again, I think that, it's essential to be able to have that. Any upgrades, anything that, it's changing. But if we had money that we had not utilized, that would have been a very, very disappointing to have that. But, thank you so much for all the efforts that you all make to make sure that, we're prudent in how we spend these monies, especially federal monies.
And I'm very excited about this project.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ted. Appreciate that. Thank you,
Thank you,
Superintendent.
Mr. Chair.
Item K is board policy review, K8, school board policy G-8461, support staff workload, Fair Labor Standards Act, overtime compensation, Dr. Antonio Leon Junior, Superintendent.
President Flores, Vice President Spray, members of the board, as part of one of our new initiatives is that through each board meeting, we'll be reviewing policy, not necessarily to update, but at least to become aware. Also let our public know that they're, be aware of the policies that are on our website and of course, readily available should they come and ask for a print copy. So in your packets, you do have board policy G-8461, GDLR, which discusses support staff workload, Fair Labor Standards Act, overtime compensation.
At this time, and I asked Vice President if she would be happy to read the policy.
Test me if I can read that. All right, I think I can. All right, thank you, President Flores. This is support staff workload policy G-8461, Fair Labor Standards Act, overtime compensation. Non-exempt employees, those non-certified employees subject to the minimum wages and overtime provisions of the Fair Labor and Standard Acts may be required to complete an individual time card showing the daily hours worked. Time cards reports shall cover one work week and shall be completed at the close of each workday. Employees shall record their starting time, time out for lunch, time in from lunch, quitting time, and total hours worked for each day. Employees are not permitted to sign in or commence work more than 15 minutes before their normal starting, or to sign out or stop work later than 15 minutes after their normal quitting time without the prior approval of the school administrator or supervisor. All employee time records shall be verified and signed by the school administrator or supervisor. Reporting another employee's time or falsifying one's own time is prohibited and may be grounds for disciplinary action, including termination. Non-exempt employees who work more than 40 hours per week shall be awarded compensatory time at the rate of 1 1/2 hours for each hour of overtime work. In cases of emergency, when the employee cannot be immediately released for this time and 1/2 compensation, the superintendent will make a decision as to paying the employee at the rate of time and 1/2, or having the employee take the time off at a future date. The hours must be approved by the immediate supervisor before an employee works overtime, or in the case of emergency, immediately upon completion of the work or as soon as thereafter as possible. Compensatory time shall be taken during the following pay period or the work week in which it was earned, unless the use of compensatory time off would unduly disrupt the operations of the district. In the event the supervisor determines compensatory time off during the week following the week it is earned, it would be unduly disruptive to the operations of the district. Such compensatory time off may be taken as soon as it is reasonably possible thereafter. This overtime compensation plan does not apply to exempt employees or to volunteers.
Great job. Thank you, Vice President Cynthia. Superintendent, I have a question. So this policy that was presented before us and read by Vice President Cynthia, this has been a policy that's been within the district for some time.
Correct. And just so that, President Spread, excuse me, if I may, so one of the things that this, particular board policy is spearheaded is we are now working at creating a complete comprehensive, process and procedures manual for the district. And so this is gonna be a part of that, so that any employee who has any questions can relate or specifically look for this policy that we have to follow.
Good.
All right, I really appreciate the initiative that we are covering board policy within our board meetings. I think it's very important that the board become aware of certain policies that may be overlooked and to also identify those policies for the public and staff. So moving right along to item Al, our superintendent's report, Ali, superintendent report, Dr. Antonio Jr.
President Flores, Vice President Spray, members of the board. So as part of course, my weekly report, or I should say not weekly, but board report. First, I'd like to talk about the 2025 legislative review. I attended last week and it was an introduction at Santa Fe. At La Fonda, or how I would say La Fonda.
That sounds productive.
Just making sure.
Yeah.
And so there were 3 senators and 3 House representatives who did go there. And they didn't go into too much detail, but they did talk about that during the 60-day legislation. And I believe there's a presentation, Mr. Tex, that we have on there. So during the 60-day legislation, they talked about a little bit of what their priorities are going to be for the legislation. And in the first 30 days, what I can tell you is that they did talk about public safety, behavioral health. Before they called it a rocket docket, now they're calling it an expedited docket. They're going to talk about 300 million in early childhood from the 9 billion that they're looking to fund. One of them, what they discussed, and this was with Peter Ward, who is the leaders, Senator Stefanik and Senator Trujillo will be coming up. They also talked about, 150 to 200 million will be set aside one time for behavioral health infrastructure. They did talk about public safety bill. They did talk about restoring COLA for retirees 65 and older. They did discuss about building codes and having those done in a timely manner. Healthcare licensing. House representative leaders talked about child safety. They did talk about affordable housing. Although Member King, I will say they didn't specify for what program, but they did talk about setting legislation aside for affordable housing and having housing packages. And housing related legislation. They did talk about student loan repayment for healthcare workers and including expanding solar, which they did mention would be more available for public schools.
Awesome.
So this is just a little bit of what I was able to glean from the introduction of the Santa Fe meeting. Want to make sure you share that with the board.
Thank you, Superintendent, and thank you for attending that legislative preview on behalf of the district. I guess getting yourself introduced to the New Mexico legislative process, and I think it's very important, and we appreciate that. Any questions for Superintendent in regards to that piece of it?
Superintendent, on the behavioral health infrastructure, was there anything that you can glean, any more detail than that? Any?
I think one of the things I want to talk to you about public health in particular was to address addiction.
Okay.
To also address mental health. They did mention during the event about the high suicide rates and see what they could do to help bring that a little bit of help to that particular population of people. So
So the behavioral health, are they looking at capital or staff?
they did not go into
They didn't-
much detail.
They didn't specify.
It would have been nice, but
We'll find out, I guess, when we go down. Okay, thank you.
I have a question. Was that Senator Linda Trujillo from San Diego?
yes, they did mention she'll be coming in for her first time, but she's gonna hit the ground running.
She is, and she gave, in our last conference, school board conference, she gave a history of New Mexico public school system since 18 something. And I got the document, just so you all know, I got it from her, and with her permission, Anna's gonna reproduce it for each of us. It's fascinating, it's all the history of schools from the beginning of school in New Mexico. We come through, I'll have just a note that if you see it in your binder, in your basket, you'll know that it's from Senator Trujillo, she had written it, it's beautiful. Thank you.
Superintendent?
All right, well, next on the agenda, is revitalization of our library program. And so one of the things that we've worked on lately is a collaboration with our new district librarian, Mr. Paul, so I did invite to come over. And school site principals and district admin to talk about the phases that we're gonna be working in. And so get ready for our full implementation. So I did invite Mr. Pauls to be able to, one, introduce him to y'all as the district librarian, and two, to be able to say how kind of involved.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you, President Flores, board members. Thank you for having me again. I remember our meeting last February very well. So it's really good to be with you again. And I wanted to just talk about how Dr. Layton contacted me towards the end of last year in November, and we met 3 times between the 8th of November and the 20th of December to talk about how we can bring about a certain amount of equity within our library program so that there are library services available not just to the high school, but to all of the schools. That's a very big part of education, being equitable and making sure that the services that a library can bring to the schools is available to all the schools. And we came up with a sort of a skeleton, a scaffolding or a framework of how we're going to go about this. That does have an echo, doesn't it, right?
I know that's.
Is it that or is it the break?
Okay.
No, it's that dome.
Is it?
Oh, this is for your, okay.
So we did come up with a plan that we've been working on to provide library services throughout the district. We met with the principals last Thursday, to talk about some of the different things that we can provide. And one of our first steps will be to create a needs assessment. That's what we were working on, of how to, I'm in the process now of going out to the different school sites and the different principals and meeting with them and just seeing what are the equipment needs, what's the state of the library space, what kind of technology needs they need, and what their ideas are for what, how they envision the library program being. And we're going to take those ideas that all of the different schools have, and we're going to coalesce that into a plan for how we're going to provide library services for all of the schools and for all of the students in our district. That's one part that we've been working on, is the needs assessment. We also have a library curriculum that's in process of being created. We have a broad year at a glance, and we're going to align that with the American Association of School Librarian standards, and also the NMPED IT standards, or also the language arts standards, to make sure that those are in sync. We've got the overall plan, but now the individual lessons we're creating. So that's another part of it that we've been working on. But we just wanted to have a plan for how we can provide library services to all the students in our district. We've started meetings. We've come up with a skeleton, and over the next couple of months, we plan on fleshing that out, filling it in with different lessons and an overall plan. And I'm very grateful to Dr. Layton for being such an enthusiast of library. For there is innumerable studies about how schools with well-functioning libraries, there's an increase in their test score, their overall academic performance.
And we're being intentional, we're being very intentional on how we're going to implement our programs. I do think we go back to something Member King used to say, if you can reach them, you can teach them. So this is another way we're reaching out to our kids to not only enhance the reading, but maybe get them to really love to learn to read again. And so this is a part of how we're supplementing our instruction, how we're supplementing and providing supports to our teachers to help overall our student outcomes, by increasing our proficiencies. And it's not going to be limited to just reading, but we're going to expand to reading, mathematics, and other subjects. So we can help support all the proficiencies, not just one of each.
Yes, one aspect of that which we've talked about and is such going to be part of the children in our community, part of their lives heading into the future, is AI, and how that will unfold and what its role is in education. There's a lot to be discovered there. It was interesting to hear Mr. Manuel talk about that, and how we can incorporate that as well into education and into the library, because a lot of AI is sorting and organizing information. So how that would come about is going to be key.
Secretary Drew has a question.
I'm glad you brought up AI, but also, I know that I used to have a huge library of books at home because I'd buy them and I'd read them. And And sometimes I would go back and reread them. But now if you look at my phone, I've got Kindle, I've got Audible. And my library is in there. And so I can look up anything, or in fact, I'll, whatever I'm listening, I'll go back and I'll look at authors. And if I find a book, I'll sample it or I'll download it, and it becomes part of my library. And this even more so, I think is gonna be so, what kids are gonna be attracted to. So how can we incorporate something like that? Because even, I think that, Kindle has a program where you can, I don't know if it's borrow a book or something. I've not even had time to look into it. And if you're not a member, that you can maybe borrow a book from Kindle and read it. And so I don't know what the possibilities are to look into as far as going beyond the written book. So to me, that would be interesting to see if kids would be interested in some kind of an app where they can, not just Kindle, but something, Taos Municipal Schools has an app where you can check out a book. And it'd be on your phone, it'd be on your laptop, or your tablet, whatever. And that would be something I think that kids would really have a buy-in to.
Yes. Yes, that's so absolutely true. The role of technology and how students will be accessing information in the future. That does help to segue also into a key function of our library plan is when we can also get more staff or work more closely with the staff that we have in terms of bringing in this technology. Because, for example, there's innumerable technological tools that we can use in education and in the library. Up till now, with the Go Bond funding from the state to purchase library materials, we've purchased hardcover books. And the reason why is because we were so low on staff. If we use different technological tools, and that's why I'm going to be working with Marie, and I'm really excited, Marie, because with the technological tools in libraries, you have to push out an app, you have to work with IT, you have to network with the teachers, you've got to present it to the students. There's a great deal of work that has to be done to use these technology tools.
Can I say something?
Secretary, and if I may just look quickly, President Flores and Vice President Sprague. Having said, and then your meeting is a perfect segue because one of the decisions I made was to place the library program under instruction, under technology, under Maria.
Awesome.
So that we can infuse technology within the libraries. But we can't, let's forget that it also is a component of instruction. And so there is a line of instruction that does go with Associate Superintendent Mondragon. So we're not just making it one pathway, we're building support systems across through instruction and technology to help support the library programs.
And I say that because we were given a book to read, this book. And when Superintendent Clayton talked about it, I downloaded it on my Kindle. I thought I'll read it on my Kindle. And then I looked into Audible and I saw that it was on Audible. And I thought, oh, when I get tired of reading, I can listen to it. And then I came and I was listening to Audible and I was reading the book at the same time. And it was just so crazy to do that. It was like, oh, how fast it reads, but it was just a different experience altogether. So I don't know what's down the line for you all, but I'm excited because it very well could be, you know, like I said, I explore these things. When I like something, I'll just dive into it. But it's so nice to be able to just have it so handy.
Yes, And we learn in education about how there's different kinds of learners. There's audible learners, there's visual learners, there's kinesthetic. And like you, with my Audible account, and to hear books, particularly when I'm on drives and such, it opens up a whole new world of learning that I didn't even know until the latter part of my life that's out there. And for so many of our students, that with listening to books audibly, often like if they go to a sporting event or anywhere, if they're traveling, that they're more apt to have their phone with them than a book. So to listen to books is a huge part of it. Graphic novels as well. There's all kinds of studies about the role of graphic novels, and that's a big part of the circulation statistics from the independent reading in the library, those who read graphic novels, because the younger generations are so visual in that way. And so there's so many areas where technology can help the learner to access information.
Well, it's gonna be exciting to see what outcomes we have from this marriage.
Oh, yes, yes. And the whole role of
Yeah.
AI, that's
Yeah.
a whole
Yes.
conversation as well.
Mhm.
And it fits so well in with library skills, because one of the roles of library is to sort and to organize information. And a lot of the tools that they call AI, that's essentially what they do is they take information, they garner it from different places and sort and organize it for students. And that's going to be part of their future. Where it's going to go, that's where the excitement is, because we don't really know, but to embrace these tools
Mhm.
is such a big part.
What is it? It's a new, I think it was the Star Wars, what they used to kind of base their,
Frontier,
frontier to explore. There you go. That's exciting.
may it not take over us.
Yes.
You heard the guy who won the Nobel Peace Prize, much to his chagrin, he made that comment. He said, I hope it doesn't take over mankind,
Ah,
which is
Yes.
scary.
that's scary. That's the
Yes.
scary part.
Already with many Audible, I do love to listen to information, to novels, to stories, and to articles, and the AI tools. They don't even employ human voices anymore, and you can't tell the difference. It sounds human. It used to sound kind of like a robot, but not anymore. Within the past year, so many, for those who made a career out of reading texts, that's another job that's being swallowed up by automation.
That's where the
Yes.
strike came in, right?
Good.
That's what the strike,
Yes.
Hollywood.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Listen.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
For everything on this.
Yeah, there's a few more slides. I don't know.
I didn't know if you wanted to go over it. I had the Go bonds. We do have the Go bond funding, and all of the funds from 2022 have been procured. They're allotted for, and in terms of equity, we divided the amounts up based upon the student populations and each of the schools. I don't know if we wanted to see those numbers, if that was necessary, but we could.
If we're okay, I guess the biggest initiative in this is that, we want to make sure that no matter what student is at what campus, they're all receiving the same equitable services.
Mhm.
And there is a phrase out there, I can't remember which author it is, but it says, they said, today's readers are tomorrow's leaders. And so we're wanting to enhance our readers so that we can keep producing leaders.
And
in our
it makes a difference.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Paul, for your presentation and for joining us tonight and your passion for libraries. I do think, it's ironic, right around the same time last year, you did a presentation and we got to see you back and with Superintendent Lane pushing this initiative. I think it's very critical, very important. Our libraries open up a whole other world to our students. I remember being a young student myself, I'm going into the library and just, being positively overwhelmed by all the selection of books and wanting to kind of dive into each and every one of them, but obviously, not being able to read 5 books at once. So, I think this is, really gonna help the district improve our test scores. Gonna help expand the knowledge of our students and show them the importance of reading, the importance of libraries, the importance of books. And hearing Secretary Trujillo speak about technology, I'm a big advocate for technology. Growing up in a time where, I wasn't, it wasn't so prevalent. I think it's very important that we, kind of provide our students with the ability and knowledge to access, hard books, something in hand, and kind of get them back to the importance of reading a book, a paper book, it's very important. So thank you, Superintendent. Does the board have any further comments for Mr. Call, the Superintendent?
If we could get that in our package or somehow you can print it out, because I'll be curious of the last, Mr. Paul, of the numbers of, I think it's slide number 9 that shows the numbers from the schools, I guess, the sites. Yeah.
Oh, yes, those are the numbers from the funding from the bond money for 2022. That was the total is down there in the bottom right-hand corner. And then I just took the student populations from the enrollment summaries and just divided the funds up between the 5 schools based upon the student population. And this time around, just because it was before we had our plan going and we wanted to get these funds procured, and it was kind of a big task. We did get hardcover books for that's what I spent the money on. But now heading into the future, working with Maria, and if there's more staff on, we'll be able to do more with electronic resources, whether it be audio books or electronic books or databases or all kinds of different electronic resources.
And I did mention one thing, we also are going to build partnerships throughout our community. I believe at Pueblo, they are building a new library.
Yeah.
So I've already reached out that they should be expecting a connection there, a partnership, as well as the town. And so we have it just right across the street. So we're gonna build these partnerships so that way our students can have that continuation, not only here at our schools, but also out in the community.
Yes. I appreciate that, Superintendent. I was just gonna ask about that, and also UNM, because we're an advisory for UNM. And our board is the advisory board for UNM of Taos. So it's great, just what Susan was alluding to. If you have a library card for the town, you can download, they interface to UNM and they, what is it called? They loan books. Interlibrary loan.
Interlibrary loan.
Yeah, so then you can download on your Kindle if you have a library card at the camp, at the town. Now let's see a UNM, you've got, the main campus, UNM campus, and that's a very nice library. They just finished, a couple of years now.
Oh, yes, yes. We have a regional group of librarians who meet, and Catherine, who used to be the librarian there, and the public libraries, we all meet. And there is so many resources out there available. At the high school, we've been bringing in Vanessa Martinez, the youth services librarian. She helps to sign up all of our students for library cards at the high school. That's something that we can do to some of the other schools now as well. There's so much room for collaboration between all of these different resources. And if the students are taking classes at UNM Taos, that gives them access to all of those databases throughout the whole UNM system. It is a tremendous world of information out there that is at people's fingertips. And one of the roles of the library program and of librarians is amidst all of that information, kids today on their phones, but to guide them towards information that will aid them in making the best informed decisions that they have. It used to be librarians would show you how to get information. There's so much information out there now. Now the role is to show learners how to access the best information that's going to help them.
And that's true,
Yes.
because you know, not to cut you off, but they say the social influencer are giving young people their news. You know, they're not, as Superintendent says, President Mark, you're not reading a book, you're not reading the paper, you've got someone with no cross-checking, this is what's going on, and you're like, oh, I heard it from here, therefore it's true.
Right.
Hmm.
Yes. Yes, it used to be like there were decisions made by television and such, but now the social influencer, who is just some, yes,
Whoever.
yes.
Thank you, Mr. Pulse. We
Thank
appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
And I just want to also, add Mr. Manuel in the back and yourself, just hearing you both speak about it. I could feel your passion, both of you, and I know the district is in good hands with people like you.
Thank you.
Serving our students, so thank you both very much, appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Happy New Year, guys. Good to see you.
And last for my presentation, one of our neighbors, California is suffering from some severe fire. And I know we're experiencing a lot of dry weather. It is not my fault. I didn't bring the Texas heat. But nonetheless, we are experiencing a lot of dry weather. And so I just want to report that we are working to make some connections, some partnerships, and some future plans so that we can be ready for these weather emergency contingencies. Now, we have great plans, and our Director of Safety, Security and Operations, Marcos Herrera, just this past week and Sunday was the unexpected powder snow. By the way, that was my first powdered snow. Now I know what we talked about. But nonetheless, it's important that we continue those, what aren't we thinking of? And so we'll be continuing these partnerships so that we can continue these weather emergency contingencies. Should there, like this dry season continue, are we ready? Should there be a massive fire? So we'll be continuing our partnerships through the hospitals, the town, the county, including to add to our already existing emergency plan.
Any questions?
Do you guys collaborate in any way with the Taos Pueblo Fire Program? Just, because there's different spots throughout the county that are tribally run, and then I know that they have a lot of prevention in place as well, but if there was an actual emergency to just be ahead with planning, I guess.
So both with the town of Taos, the town of Taos, the Taos County, and tribal government actually all work together through the Taos County. In the event of an emergency, there's MOUs with all of them.
Nice.
For that. We also are lucky enough to work with one of our parents from Minos Garcia, Valentin Vasquez, who works with the Northern Pueblos
Yeah,
for fire management, including Taos Pueblo.
yeah, now we have a fire crew again that hadn't been in place for several years, and so I know they get called out to different places, but good to know.
I just have any further questions, but that does conclude my certificate updates.
One question. I didn't hear if you mentioned your great idea. I thought it was a great idea. Is that cyber magnet using the public library across the street more?
Actually, they currently do, but yes, that is part of
It's such a great
that's part of
idea for them. It's a great library. I just wanted to give you some credit for that, in case you forgot to do it. Thank you, Mark.
Superintendent, just to comment on the weather emergency contingencies, I think it's, very important that we stay abreast of the changing weather and the changing climate. As we're experiencing a lot of severe weather in all different parts of the country. A few years ago, we had this really severe snow squall. I'm not sure if you've heard of what something like that is, Superintendent, but we had like almost a winter type tornado that blew through Taos County and tore apart homes, leveled garages, completely just laid down swaths of trees in the forest. And I think, with the fire season coming upon us, due to the drought this winter that we've experiencing, there's a great potential for fire. And in those instances, they utilize some of our school sites. When we had that Hermit's Peak Canyon fire a few years ago, they utilized, I believe, the high school for various purposes and some of our other facilities. So I think it's a great conversation to have and to, be prepared. And I want to thank Mr. Herrera for staying in front of all that and all your work. Never be too prepared for an emergency. We hope not to experience that, but when it happens, just gotta be ready for it.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, sir. So I want to thank everybody in the audience for their attendance. Tonight, the board's going to move into an executive session where we will discuss two items. Item A pursuant to section 10-15-1H of the New Mexico Open Meetings Act, section 12-6.5 of the New Mexico Audit Act, and 2.2.1.5A3 of the NMAC for the auditing firm and the superintendent to update the board regarding status of the special audit. Item B, pursuant to NMSA 1978, section 10-15-1H2 of the New Mexico Open Meetings Act for discussion about limited personnel matters regarding investigation or consideration of complaints or charges against any individual public employee. So at this time, I will make a motion to enter to executive session. It is 8:20 p.m.
Second.
We have a second from Vice President Cynthia. Call for the roll, please.
Board Member Concha,
Yes.
Board Member King,
Yes.
Secretary Trujillo,
Yes.
Vice President Spray,
Yes.
President Flores.
Yes.